What is up, guys, and welcome to, finally, a brand new podcast. I may have been saying it feels like I've been saying this ever since I left with Brother, to be honest, that I will create a podcast. And it's taken until the time when everybody's cancelling everything for me to finally start it, which is kind of ironic. But welcome to this podcast, the podcast which we're not actually allowed to tell you the title of the podcast because we're not actually allowed to say the word. The elephant in the room. This is a podcast, it's the free from the thing that everyone's talking about. I mean, we could call it the Chinese virus. That's what Trump is calling it. So
better than Desperado virus.
I like Chinese virus more personally. I thought Trump was going there. I mean, if he can change the name, we can too.
Don't even start on that one.
But this is gonna. The whole premise of this podcast. I mean, we need help by you guys. But I mean, let's be realistic. We're living in. Everyone keeps saying it. What's that famous word?
Unprecedented time.
I mean, I must have said. I don't think I said that word before about 6 months ago. I don't think I said that word. In the previous, put it this way. Previous year, I think I said that word 3 times, and I think I might have said it about 50 million times.
I feel like it's gonna be the new manifest.
What does
you
that
know
mean?
how exactly everyone just all of a sudden manifest has just become a word used to describe anything. Manifest the F out of everything. People are saying. How manifest means to hold things in.
I don't know what that
hold
means.
them back. I thought, but anyways, yeah, that is what I think.
People enjoy change and definitions, but back to the thing. If you're wondering what the podcast is about, obviously it's the coronavirus-free podcast. I said it once. It's the only time you'll hear it in this thing, apart from possibly the outro. I'll probably say it again. We're not allowed to talk about the thing that everyone's talking about. Now, it was important to note, of course, what's going on right now. We wanted to do this podcast to basically give ourselves a bit of an escape and give everyone else a bit of an escape, because right now you cannot escape it whether you try. And obviously it's important not to escape it because we do actually need to know what's going on, and it's a very serious thing. And of course, you know, thousands of people losing their lives every
Be
single
mindful,
day.
not ignorant.
But there comes a time where you do need to just escape and just have 20-40 minutes away where you just forget that there's a pandemic sweeping across the globe right now, because it's kind of terrifying time to live in. The thing with it is, though, is where do we go with this podcast is kind of up to them, really. I mean, what we talk about, I mean, you'd think it's quite easy not to talk about it, but actually it's quite difficult because pretty much everything involves it, and this is what we talked about the other week. Like, everything, even news. You think about the news, because we talk about how the news cycles like dominate, but like I said to you, there's nothing else on.
And most conversation as well, naturally, it revolves around people's current activities, what they're doing, what's happening in their lives. I mean, and everyone right now is just like, crap.
Well, life.
We're not doing anything.
Life right now is the same, isn't it? Everyone's doing the same thing. You can't do anything.
Lucky for us, we never do anything with our lives anyway. So I mean, it's not.
You do. I
like to think.
I don't, as such. But I mean, we're gonna find things to talk about. I mean, I'd love for you guys to be able to, in the comments, bring us a topic. We'll pick a random topic from the comments. Or a few. I mean, we'll pick a few. I'm just, it's time-wise, because we don't know how long these podcasts are going to go on too long. 20, 30 minutes, and me, I do like to talk quite a lot. So the chances are, if we pick more than one topic, it'll probably be about 10 hours. And by the time I'm finished the podcast, the pandemic will actually be over. So we will have actually just avoided the whole thing. That said, it's important we do pick a podcast. And I want to be able to, it can be philosophical and be something interesting, just something that's not related to that. But James, we haven't done a podcast for a long time. Have you ever done a podcast before?
I've done a mini one in uni, but not a podcast. No, I didn't have the fear of it being shown to quite a lot of people. So, aside from that, no, I haven't.
You've never really done one. I mean, I think the great thing with podcasts is you can. I've always found them quite easy because, not easy, that's the wrong word, but because I like to talk. I mean, no, really.
It's very natural for you.
Just talk, and it's quite easy to just do as well, and it's not that complicated. So I think.
Oh, he can talk.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at that dog.
Oh yeah, guys, we're doing this on our balcony, by the way. So if there's any couple of weird noises, it's probably a Uber Eats driver or a dog walker.
Right, let's try and come up with something, James, because we've got to think about something.
Yeah, we're really holding their ears here, and they're like they could be doing something a lot better, like sitting on the sofa and looking at the walls.
I think it's hard to find
Let's
motivation.
I'll tell you what, because talk about the stupidity
Of what?
everyone, us,
Stupidity of life.
especially in.
But the problem with it is James, we can't correlate it to what's going on right now. And when I think of stupid idiots right now, I do think...
Yeah, all I'm thinking is people going to Skegness and Butlins.
And this is the problem. And I think this is the crazy thing about this. And I know we say it's the thingy virus-free thingy, and it will be. And we more need, and I think we're working out here is in the second episode. We need your help to know what you want us to talk about and how you quite want us to go. I want this to be escape for everyone. I don't just want it to be escape for me and James. So and help us out in the comments section.
To be fair, we could also start some, because this is the kind of start of lockdown. Maybe some of the things we're wanting to maybe achieve personally kind of out of this. You know, we've been given this, you know, ungodly kind of few months, you know, out of no choice but to sit there and just get on with things. So it's what do we plan to maybe do that we wouldn't have never done during a pandemic? So I know for myself, for example, I've got like my drawing tablet and stuff. I went and stockpiled, not at a toilet roll, I stockpiled at paint crafts, and so I'm pretty set in terms of that. But I don't even know if I'll even, explore most of it. But
it's just finding things to do, and I think that's the problem. I think everyone's realised that they've got no hobbies, which is a slight problem, really.
Hobbies just involve money, and in the world, they don't just, you know, something like painting or bloody singing or, you know, I think not many people really.
And a lot of people have, and the fact that people have so much time now, it's quite daunting. I mean, I it's weird for me because obviously I didn't have anything on. Like, this isn't really much different thing. The only difference is that now no one is doing anything, whereas it's not just me not doing anything. I know it sounds really ridiculous. I mean, obviously I would be able to go out, and I wouldn't go out for one form of exercise a day. I'd go out and go somewhere, whatever. But
we go Greg's and Greenwich or something.
I'm not working. Like, just what I'm saying. I'm not like off from my job, but just what I'm saying, I'm not away from uni or anything like that. It's just kind of normal for me in the sense of it's normal, but then you've got this whole thing on the side, and I think it's really weird because I've definitely drawn from many years off of everyone else's routine and stuff like that. And I think what this has taught me personally, beyond what's taught me many a thing, but just on this specific point, is that I am far too reliant on everyone else's routine. Everyone else's routine controls me, and I might not have a routine, but I'm controlled by everyone else's routine. And when everyone else's routine goes, I don't know what the fuck to do. So it's been, and I think it's enlightening. I think it's an enlightening time because I think we will, if people give themselves a chance to just sit back and think and relax and think about themselves, it will give you a chance to work out these things about yourself, and it's just what you fucking do with it.
How has it changed your kind of perspective after? So now that it's obviously realised that everyone else's routine is so detrimental to your own that has made up your routine, have you kind of thought about now, what if these people's routines kind of go away anyway, aside from coronavirus, and now are you kind of maybe realising that you have to work on your routine a lot more after this, or are you...
Nah, I'm just not really, you know, I mean, look, you could put it that, I mean, I'm grateful that I
that's
found
the honest answer.
Well, I'm grateful I found out the information. What I'll do with it is probably fuck all.
Sit on it.
But nonetheless, it's an interesting time. We are learning a lot about human beings and stuff like that. But like I say, we're talking too much about the thing, James.
Oh crap! Yeah.
We're going too much about the thing. So let's think about that. Let's try and take ourselves back to a time in which this didn't exist. November the 1st. We didn't even know this was happening.
Oh, that was in Barcelona, wasn't it?
We were in Barcelona. Let's talk about that. What crazy? You know what? Why don't we talk about travel? Let's talk about other countries. It's one thing we can't do at the moment. Well, let's just talk about it. I mean, it's like it's like when, you know, you're banned from chocolate for 30 days and someone keeps putting it in front of your nose. Like it's really good to do that.
I have quite a good question.
No.
What were those really obscure countries that you never visit, but you just really wanted to visit when you were younger? What did you ever have any of those?
What country? Austria I wanted to visit, but that was because I supported them in the Winter Olympics because Great Britain weren't very good.
Oh yeah, no, they did well good in those Winter Olympics. Like Austria hosting them. I love watching the skeleton.
So I supported them.
Skeleton is so cool. No, what's the one where they all run and they go around that huge like roller coaster track without any tracks? It's just like a big slide.
James.
You know what I mean, they sit in the bobsleigh.
You're talking about bobsleigh, but that's the quite possibly.
And there's also another one where they run.
Hang on, that's quite possibly the worst I've ever heard anyone describe bobsleigh in my 20 years of existence. But nonetheless, yeah, that is bobsleigh. Skeleton's the same thing. Skeleton's when you do it on your... Well, I think skeleton's on your own, and that's on the fucking board. James, if you think it looks fun, then you actually need to get your head checked.
Because you go fast.
You'll get exactly 80 mile an hour. You're smashing into things. Obviously, and it's one of the most dangerous sports because there's been a lot of deaths related to... I mean, what time to talk about that? But there's been a lot, so it's a very dangerous because obviously it's so quick. It's on ice, and one mistake at 80 mile an hour on ice, and it can be. I mean, before the Vancouver Olympics, they were doing testing on the bobsled. This is so depressing. Oh, I talk about this. They were doing testing on the thing for the Vancouver Olympics in 2008, and one of the people who I believe they were going to be in the Olympics, so they were doing a test run on the track, came in a bend, went too fast, come off the track, whacked into I think it was a metal pole, broke their neck and died.
Well, guys, you know what they say? Don't go out when there's black ice.
James, you can't say that. Poor someone's actually died.
I'm sorry.
It's unbelievably insensitive. I was thinking about that. This is another thing. Can I actually do a podcast series where I don't offend people? Because I don't think it's possible. Because you see, we know me in the past. I did used to have a series that, with the whole point of it was offending people. So I'm very cautious that I possibly would offend people in some way at some point in this series. But I do want to say right now that is not my intention, because there's one thing I didn't make clear in the previous series. I mean, partly the name didn't really help. But I'm not meaning to offend, and don't worry, there's not going to be a feminist video, so you should all be fine. It's kind of crazy.
His views have changed on that very much so now.
Nah, they're still the same. Still exactly the same. Nothing's changed with me. If I redid that video, James, I'd say exactly the same thing. If anything, it would be worse. I'm joking, of course, but it's kind of crazy. We're going to put that in the video.
Cameron Cole claims he never regrets video.
A funny story, and it's a funny story, and I may as well share now because it's not about the thingy, and also it's just funny. I thought about it the other day. When I came out of Big Brother, obviously I was with I was obviously with
flooding again.
Management and things like that. Oh God, not that again. We'll tell that story as well. And basically, he was trying to get me onto TV and things like that. And we were laughing at the other day that we were trying to. There was Loose Women that he was trying to get. We didn't get through it. And I was just thinking, God, imagine how they got on Loose Women. Imagine the articles in the press after. The feminist hating Cameron on the Loose Women. I mean, you couldn't write it, so I'm quite glad. I feel like I dodged a bullet there. But James, the other thing. Oh no, because that's about the thing, so we can't talk about that.
Let's go back to our country question.
Oh yeah, I got sidetracked.
No, it's fine.
Austria, I love Austria. Love the Winter Olympics.
It's just because they went to Olympics.
But yeah, Britain aren't very good, are they? Ironically, because it's always fucking cold.
Actually, no, I can relate to that. I always wanted to go skiing when I was younger in somewhere like Austria, but everyone in my area just hated skiing. For some reason, like no one went skiing.
So you want to go to Austria too?
Yeah,
really?
To go skiing. Yeah, Austria or like France.
But I thought you were going to say Germany.
I then settled. I think my country that was really, really interested to go to, ironically, was actually Dubai. Well, like the Middle East, like the Middle Eastern countries. I used to really love them, like Doha, like Qatar. But then obviously I found out about the insane politics for me if I were to go and visit those countries.
Well, you found out you were gay, really. I mean,
yeah,
ultimately.
exactly. I think I was still in a denial process in that stage when I was still kidding that I was going to live in Dubai with a wife and make money.
Well, perhaps you were so homophobic, because when you're working out, you're gay, sometimes a bit homophobic, in little spits and spurts.
Yeah, self-hatred.
Yeah, perhaps you just wanted to go to the most homophobic places in the world.
Yeah, so there's none of that. I don't even have to be reminded of my disgusting secret.
But isn't it a shame? I thought this though, how sad it is, because these are some of the most beautiful cities and places in the world.
Doha looks amazing. I still want to visit so bad, but Jesus,
But at the same time, I don't want to get thrown off a building. So I'm quite content with
I don't want to as much as I know that obviously we can visit the countries and stuff like that. I don't want to feel like I'm under pressure the whole time to hide who I am, to enjoy my holidays, and I don't think it's enjoying a holiday as such. I have no doubt. I think in the next few years, Dubai especially has become a lot more kind of accepting of things like kissing in public, like holding hands and stuff like that.
Oh wow, fucking hell, that's incredible. Welcome to the 1920s, guys.
Yeah, but
it's all brilliant. It's a bit of progress.
Yeah, but I guess they've just had to finally kind of catch up now that they've obviously got a big ass booming industry.
Women allowed to have cars yet? Or still not allowed to do that?
I think they are in Dubai, to be fair.
I think they're allowed in Saudi Arabia now.
Hey, guys, feminism.
But this is so sad.
Oh, Jesus, the fact that is...
Jokes aside, the fact that this is real life for people, and it's sad that we all think of, we're just like, we can't go on holiday there.
Sad that
but no, imagine being gay.
It's normal as well.
Imagine living there. Like, we're moaning about the fact we can't go on holiday to places. But imagine being a woman in the Middle East, or being a gay person in the Middle East, or just being anything other than what they want you to be.
Apparently there's a very kind of difference in people who are gay in the Middle East. So you have the people who could be openly gay. So this is what I've heard from a couple of my friends at uni and stuff who are like from Qatar and whatnot. They said there can be a very kind of opposing gay, basically. You have the gays who are closeted and hide it completely, and then
the
you
gays
have this
that have been
very
thrown off the bloody building.
no, or you have this very kind of select group of like Emirati gays, they call them, apparently, and they're obviously kind of royal family. Nothing can touch them, so they can be who they fully want to the absolute, desire. But everyone else just watches and kind
That's
of.
not true. You can't fully be everything you want in
Well,
a
no,
country
but-
that doesn't.
No, but they can be a lot more.
They know deep down that country, the country's public opinion does not support who they are. I mean, they can't be happy.
Yeah, no, but they know that they're above that all, so that's what gives
You
them the
can't be
happiness. I
happy
think.
in that.
No, but it's false happiness, isn't it? Obviously, it's not happiness. We can look at it and study like
But that's what I'm saying.
the
it's
false
sad, it's
false
horrible.
happiness. But
It's not happiness. It's just shit. And
well, yeah, but I mean,
the fact that we
well, it's a shit situation because obviously then you have the ones who are, so in the closet and so secret about it. They're watching this one who's so privileged and able to be gay and flaunt it
No,
to
but
them
I mean-
with still imposing the laws and saying you're going to get thrown off buildings. But hey, I've got a gay son.
I'll forget that gay shit for a second though, but think about all the other stuff as well, the women and things like that. I mean, the fact that we actually celebrated worldwide news that Saudi Arabia had finally allowed women to drive cars, was it last year, is baffling to me. We should be celebrating
I
that.
guess
This is unbelievable.
I think it's just guess because of the situation they're in. It is, in some ways, I know it.
No, I
it's
know,
hard
I
to
know
see it, but
why. I get it. I
progress-
get progress, and I get why we celebrate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not seven.
Yeah.
I do understand why we're doing it.
I know.
But this
Oh,
is
yeah, they
ridiculous.
should be they should be fully socially in our place. But sadly, their progress is very, very little to ours. So I mean, we can only applaud the progress that is
I'm not
getting
applauding.
made.
I'm not applauding a country
Not
allowing
applauding.
women to drive cars. I'm not doing it. I'm not applauding them for not throwing gays off buildings. I'm not doing that. They don't need an applause for that. That is common sense. You should be doing that. I'm not going to congratulate you for doing that. Like, for not doing those things, for allowing women to drive cars, for allowing gays to actually live their life. I'm not applauding you for that shit. You should be doing that.
No, they're not applauding that, but it's
I'm
applauding. It's applauding the women and stuff like that who are now getting able to drive. It is.
I'm happy for them.
We show
I'm
them that it
grateful
is.
for them,
Yeah,
but
we try
we
and
should
show
not
them
be-
that it is progress. So I guess it means more to them. If people,
No,
if
I'm
they
not-
see that people are viewing it as progress and stuff like that, it boosts like the morale of those guys. It's not.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be praising these countries as amazing countries
No, we
that
shouldn't- we
are really
shouldn't
coming into the
praise.
21st century with
No.
views and stuff when,
We-
when they're
yeah.
still barbaric and they're still about 100
Yeah.
years behind.
Well, I don't think we should
the
praise,
only
but we
people
should
I feel sorry
encourage.
for are the people that are living in those countries.
I don't think we're praising though. I think we're encouraging.
Like, encouraging them to come to the 21st century.
Yeah.
Well, last time I checked, it's too. Look, you're still in the 19th century.
yeah,
but
but
it's the
they're
21st. Come
I know.
on. These people, these countries in which socially these views are, and it's not just the Middle East. It's anywhere. I mean, you look at America, look at their abortion. But people, these countries need to come into the 21st century at the end of the day. And then people are going to say, oh, yeah, not every country's ever going to be the same. I don't want every country to be the same. But there are certain things that are just right and wrong. A woman driving a car in it is right and wrong. A gay person being allowed to live freely in their country and not have to worry about dying is just it's just human right. And when countries are
100%,
abusing human rights, then they don't deserve no praise. And in my opinion,
Oh, no, it's an utter violation.
these countries that are abusing human rights and stuff, they need more sanctions. We
Yeah.
need to start to do more to change
Well, we do.
society. And
But then you have, obviously the USA, like trading, like millions with them over oil. That's how they got so rich.
well, so did all. I mean,
All of us. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. We
every
need to.
country tried, but the problem with it is how do you it's that difficult thing in politics. Like, how do you do it? Like, if you don't, so you make your country worse off by not taking the money thing, not
Or you
using the
don't-
Middle East of the oil, but then if you
Yeah, but-
take it, they don't move anywhere in the human rights because you lose your negotiating
But
status. So
then
it's impossible.
technically, you could say they're moving in human rights now, just a lot slower and a lot more kind of behind us. I guess they've now just been, because they're now introduced to the world quite late. To be fair, this is maybe a different way, isn't it? Because I guess they have been introduced to this kind of new capitalist, kind of the consumerism world. They've now obviously have to catch up socially, and they're so many years behind. So it's like, I think what maybe potentially people are trying to do is more recognize the kind of progress they're doing, not applaud it, not praise it, not be like, hey, wow, finally, like, women could drive, but it's like, right, okay, that's the right step, keep going that way.
That's how it's done. It shouldn't be.
It's encouragement,
It's the
though.
right
I mean-
step. Are you 5?
No, but
Are you 5?
yeah, but people in those,
Like,
how are you gonna get
If anyone goes, yeah, but there's different cultures and different views and stuff. If a culture doesn't, I don't care what it is. If you don't think that's right, it's not a cultural thing. If you don't believe in human rights, you're not a very nice person. Full stop.
Yeah.
So this is, we have to stop making we have to stop making excuses for this. We have to stop. I know we were talking about earlier, like.
So that's why I can't move to that country.
That's why I can't visit that country. But it's like with homophobia and stuff that we were talking about. It's slightly different, but like. We need to understand why people feel this way. Why do people feel this way? And we've got to look. You look at the gay thing. You think, right? Well, a lot of the time, people would say, "Oh, it's religion." God, Bible says whatever or whatever else. But it's not. Religion is not an argument. And I know some people, I think it is, but it's not. I want to know exactly why. What is it? Is it the sex that makes you feel repulsive? Is it the idea of a man? Is the idea of a man's penis going into a man's arse? Is that what makes you feel sick? Is it the fact that them living together and having children? Is that what you think? Is it about the fact that it's not a nuclear family and you believe that? What is it? Why you feel like? Is it because what you've seen on television? It's because you don't like the gay lifestyle? Is it because what is it? And when you listen to someone and they actually tell you and you let someone speak, you can change people's minds. I know it's scary because if you've experienced any sort of oppression, whether it be homophobia, sexism, racism, whatever the hell it may be, it's difficult to confront that person who is representing all the things that have oppressed you for your whole life. But if we confront them, we can change people's minds if we just have a conversation. And if you change one person's mind, they can change someone else's mind. I've seen it in my own family, in my own social life, my own family. I'm not saying my family were homophobic at all, and I'm not talking about my close family, but there were people, in and around. You can imagine that, probably I heard them say a few things when things on the television. Ever since I came out, and I've sat there and I've let them ask me questions. I've said, look, if there's anything you want to ask me. I don't care if it's offensive. I said, I'm not going to be offended. I want to help you understand. And, one of them brought up the men and women thing.
Yeah, who's the man and who's the woman in the relationship,
and,
like the roles.
And I said, look, that for some people would find that really offensive. I mean, me, I don't find that offensive. I don't really get offended by anything. But that isn't offensive. And I explained exactly why, gay people find it offensive, etc., etc. It's the same with the pride thing. When someone talks about the pride thing, if you explain to them why we have pride, it's not about that we want to go and show off the fact we're gay. It's the fact we've struggled with this for years and years and years, and we're all coming together
to support origins of the pride parade, the fact that we had to do it, and be lynched at.
We should have pride.
Thrown at people, attacking us in the street. Obviously not us personally, because we weren't alive then, but our community.
And when you understand that, you can change someone from being. Obviously, we're talking about being homophobia because it's the one we're directly connected to, but it's the same with and the thing that
to be honest, actually, when I was I was out gay, rural areas still. I still hadn't moved to London, etc. I hadn't really seen anything gay. I was still kind of like, well, why do I need a pride really? I don't really want to kind of flaunt it off. But there was me just kind of being a bit more insecure about that.
Was just me. Pride, to begin with.
I was like, well, why? We don't need to flaunt it. It's just. But then I was like, wait, actually, no, this is so significant to us, and it is so bloody important that it stays, and that it is, people are constantly reminded of what pride is, because, if I hadn't learned myself, even though, I am gay, if I hadn't learned myself, obviously I would have learned shortly after, I would have been, screwed as well.
I think the thing that is, I used to have my opinion used to be that pride is, if we want equality, then we shouldn't be doing pride and stuff like that, because how are we ever going to be the same if we're always trying to be different? But that's what I didn't understand. It's not a case of when the when the women walk down on on the eve of on the 1 year anniversary or the anniversary of the suffrage on the 1 year anniversary fucking hell, but you know what I mean, when they walk down the streets, no one's going, oh well, how they expect to be equal, they walk down there. No, it's appreciating your past, it's appreciating your history, and it's representing that. It's a community coming together.
Showing your position.
I mean, look, if the straights want to do it, that's cool. But there's not a lot that you're going to be doing. Where's your history? Where's your thing?
If you have pride for being straight,
it's not about disrespect. It's not like straight pride. I know.
No, that's what I mean. But where does the pride come from?
And when you actually explain it in a rational conversation, rather than just going, you're straight, you don't deserve pride. They actually realise, to be fair, why would we have pride? We've got no history. We've gone through no hardship. I've not gone for any oppression. And unless they're genuinely
bullying, they don't go through having to stay in the closet about being straight. Why are they prideful?
They're not killing themselves because they can't accept their sexuality. So
there's being comfortable with your sexuality, and then there's being prideful. Being comfortable with your sexuality, yeah, you can do that when you're straight. I mean, so many people are, but I mean, acting like you need a parade because of it.
And I think you got to understand it's not the majority of. And I think a lot of people who are against pride, if you explained it to them, the reasons why, and it wasn't just this massive show where people can go and get drunk and leave loads of litter on the floor, and you had to explain the history behind it. I think people would be. I think you change about 50% of people's mind. A lot of oppression, which is so sad, and I'm not trying for 1 second to defend it. It's just lack of education. Just discrimination a lot of the time is lack of education. I don't mean that in like, oh, they didn't go to school. I mean lack of education, just lack of understanding. I mean, in simple terms, when you grow up in rural areas, you don't experience as much of a diverse thing as when I, for example, moved to London. I'm not saying my social opinions changed much when I came to London, because they already had, but you can see how it could change for someone who'd been out in the sticks for their whole grown up. They had no diversity barely in their school. You knew the diverse. There was one or two diverse people. You had a gay, or you had. I mean, but there wasn't diversity like you get in a big city like London. And then when you come to a big city like London, you can understand how people can then switch their socially from things. So it's all about education. But the sad thing is, why should it take someone to have to come out of a rural area to a big city to change the thing? Why can't we educate people within the rural area so that they aren't having that opinion, so they don't have to escape to the city to then lose the racism, the homophobia, the discrimination, wherever it may be, or directed.
I think it wouldn't be as such of a problem if people actually chose to listen as well, but a lot of people reject it in school. No, like in school and stuff, when they're teaching about like gay, and I don't know what you called it in England, but they kind of called it like RMPS, not RMPS, that's religious studies. There's PSE, and people would just like start laughing or instantly be like, oh. And then a few years later, I'm hearing them try and excuse their homophobia for being miseducated. Well, no, you got the choice, but you've chose to kind of detach yourself. And
these are kids.
No, but people who
come up with a better way to do this.
No,
it's adults.
No,
it's parents.
they're also
everything.
they're also the ones who were sharing like the pride like poppies, like those people, for example.
Parents, look at the parents. A
Yeah,
lot
but
of kids
people
get
who are
their opinions and views from parents. Parents need to be better educators.
no,
for
but
their kids.
parents
need
kids
to
leave at 18.
Parents need to be better educating. Bring up people.
But we are the new
socially.
generation.
No, but I'm saying parents need to do it too. It's a wide range
Yeah,
effort. We all
off,
need to do this. It's not just the school can only educate.
No, I'm not on about school.
We all educate.
I'm not on about the
You
school.
can
I'm saying the
educate
person needs to want to educate themselves. They can't just be forced to education down their throat. They need to want to learn, or else they can't blame ignorance.
It's not about
on it.
But it's just about.
They can't blame the fact that I came in a rural area when they refused to ever.
Of course, I'm not for 1 second saying this is a different point. I guess it's a completely different point. Of course, we wouldn't never ever would they.
Oh yeah, no, I was just coming off it thinking
we need to all. It's not just education. When I say education, I mean school. I mean teachers. I mean everything.
Yeah, just social education.
And it's crazy how much you can change when you just sit down and don't shout at someone and just have a normal conversation. Human beings have a lot more in common than we think, and I think if we all understood one another a little bit better, and if we all kind of this is the thing I said to you earlier, and I always talk about this. None of us know what it's like to live someone else's life. No one has lived someone else's life. No one has ever walked in anyone's shoes. Not one of us. I don't know who you listening right now. I don't know what your life is. I don't know what you've gone through. I don't know how you're feeling. No one knows. Even the people you're closest to. I don't know how my sister's life's been, Erica. I don't know how my Poppy's life's been. I don't know how Mum's life. I don't know how they're feeling right in that moment. And when you understand that, and you just realise, right, okay, I understand that. None of this matters. Like, let's just be more understanding. Let's be a bit more. Let's have that conversation. Let's understand. All right, that person's reacted like that, but maybe it's a bit. I'm not talking about racism, homophobia. I'm talking about a completely different thing now. Someone might have react really negative to something you say, or might be a bit offended, or have got a bit hurt by that, or a bit upset, or a bit sensitive over that issue, and you might think, well, that's pathetic. I'm not sensitive over that issue. Like, well, get over it. Like, you've not lived their shoes, not lived their life. And when you understand that, you can really understand humans, and you can learn together and come up. I learned in Big Brother because you're around. All of us were so different, all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, and we'd have never have met each other if we wouldn't have gone to Big Brother. We'd have never been I'd have never been friends with Thomas, and Thomas would have never been friends with me. We'd have never crossed paths, and if we would have done, we'd have still probably never been friends. And I'm not afraid to say that. Me and Lewis, exactly the same thing. You could go through all of them. Me and Zoe. When would I ever have met Zoe? A Zoe. When would I ever have met a Sean? When would I ever met a Brooke? I wouldn't have probably done it until I'd have moved to the big city. And when you meet those people and you think, God, when you first go in,
takes years as well. That what you went through as well takes years of those interactions. Obviously, happen. They wouldn't happen within a usual 3-month period. You would have that over like 3-4 years.
But you don't think you're gonna be able to. We all thought it. We all said it. We were worried we weren't gonna find things in common. What have I got in common with a single a single mum like Zoe or Sean. What have I?
Yeah.
When actually, in
Yeah,
reality,
like a
we've got
18-year-old,
loads.
yeah.
We have loads in common. I used to sit with Zoe and we used to chat for hours. She's a single mum who's 30 and I'm 18. I mean, in another world, I could be her son. You know, in certain places. Like, I mean, it's insane. And I think that really taught me that we are all the same, and we all can find stuff to relate to it and to find things to talk about. And I think if there's any message that we get from this first pointless podcast, from me personally, it would be that: listen, understand, and remember. Just try and remember that how you would have reacted in that situation is not going to be the same how they did, because you haven't walked their shoes. Try and imagine yourself in someone else's shoes for 1 second, and it will give you a bit more understanding. And it's difficult to hate people when you're like that, apart from people that are evil. I will say that. I feel like I'm making an excuse for everyone today. Well, James, anything else you want to add? I'm conscious not making this too long.
Very good. I think you've just concluded it there.
And Miss J in the Upperside Riverside group, she ain't happy. She's not happy. So
No.
I think the hot water's gone back off, guys. So I don't know what we're going to be doing. But James,
I know you've done a bit.
So yeah, I mean, I've already said the C word once, so I'm not talking about the word C. Let's choose. I'm talking about the other C word. Do you know the C word I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you want to outro the video, you're allowed to say the word once. I'm allowed to say it once. You're allowed to say it once. So I've done the intros. You're gonna have to do the outros. So say,
Jeez. Well, guys, just thanks so much for listening, basically, and to please check back as.
Oh, it should be weekly, wouldn't it? That's what I forgot to say, actually.
Oh yeah, we didn't even. Oh, this should have been at the start. For God's
I
sake.
don't know, but by the way,
Well,
guys,
if you're
this is
here
gonna
now,
be weekly.
it means you're loyal, and you're gonna be here next week anyway. So there's no point really telling you here next week, as we imagine you've got it like notified. Yeah, we don't even need to worry about you.
Day wise, we won't be too. It will be within the next week.
Yeah.
So this is this week. I don't know. We're recording this Saturday.
We're bad at making promises.
It's gonna go up probably Monday or Tuesday. I would say the next episode will be Monday or Tuesday, but it'll be sometime next week. But James, say it. Say my classic line. Thank you for watching the what?
Thank you for watching the CoronaVirus Diaries.
No.
What?
That ain't the name. Are you serious, James?
Coronavirus free zone. Well, I didn't know that was the actual name.
I can't say it. I can't say the word.
Name.
It's a cool name.
The coronavirus.
You've got to say thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching the coronavirus free zone.
Fucking hell, I'm doing the outro and the intro next time. Jesus Christ.
And all the speaking.
Yeah.